350 euros. That is what they ask today for a supposed high-end racket. They sell you power, control, and exclusive design. But what you have inside that box actually has a ridiculous manufacturing value, perhaps less than the cost of a cheap dinner for two people. On one side, you have one of the best rackets in existence. On the other, a generic white label racket costing 10 times less. Big brands have spent millions convincing you that the difference between them is massive, that there is specific technology involved that justifies that exorbitant price tag. But today, we are going to do something that will really hurt the manufacturers. We are going to ignore the advertising and see exactly what happens when we slice the marketing in half. You will discover that the famous 12K carbon, the premium rubber, and those technologies with complex names hide a truth manufacturers don't want you to know. We will break down euro by euro where your money truly goes, expose the great lie regarding materials, and, most importantly, teach you how to never throw hundreds of euros in the bin ever again. To understand this price bubble, we first have to follow the money trail, and that trail almost always leads us far from where you think. Do you know where I mean? Where are the largest production industries? Exactly, China and Pakistan. Although many brands boast about European design, the reality is that 90% of all global production comes from the very same industrial factories in Asia. If you are curious and visit any wholesale import portal right now, you are in for a nasty surprise. The real manufacturing cost of a racket, even the ones sold as top of the range, fluctuates solely between $25 and $40. So, do the maths. If manufacturing costs $30, why do you pay $300? A small part goes on transport and customs. Okay, that is inevitable. The shop where you buy it takes a 30% margin. Logical, it is a business. But the giant bite, the actual black hole where your money simply disappears, is what I call the fame tax, the marketing. When you buy the world #1's official racket, you aren't paying for revolutionary carbon fiber. You are paying his millionaire contract, his travel, his hotels, and his bonuses for winning tournaments. You are financing his career with the surcharge on your gear. Basically, you are paying for the paint and the signature. The saddest part is that the same racket, coming from the same mold, but without the trendy logo and without the star player's signature, would cost literally half. They charge you an extra 150 euros just for the right to feel like them. But what if I told you that isn't even true? And what if I told you that the racket they are selling you has absolutely nothing to do with the one they actually use? But if the price is not in the signature, surely it must be in the technology, right? This is where those letters and numbers come into play. The ones you see printed largely on the racket faces. 3K, 12K, 18K, 24K. It sounds powerful. Intuitively, you think, if the 3K is good, then the 24K has to be 8 times better. And the brands are absolutely delighted that you think that, so they can charge you more. But it is a lie. That K only indicates the number of carbon threads per strip. The more threads there are, the denser and more rigid the racket becomes. And here comes the irony. For a professional with perfect technique and an arm of steel, that rigidity is brilliant. But for you, for the vast majority of amateur players, a 24K racket is actually a trap. It is so hard that the ball won't fly off unless you hit it with brute force, and all the impact vibrations travel directly up to your elbow. Basically, they are selling you a technical feature as premium that will probably make you play worse and end up getting you injured. And then there is the best-kept secret, the interior. If we strip away that thin layer of carbon, what remains is 90% of the racket, the core. They give it fancy names: multi-EVA, black EVA, ultra soft core. But let's not fool ourselves here. It is rubber. It is industrial foam, expanded plastic. The real difference in cost between the best rubber on the market and a standard one is a matter of cents. There are no magic rubbers from NASA. There are different densities, yes, but there is no secret formula that justifies the price shooting up another 100 euros just for changing the color of the core. It is literally selling you hot air, or in this case, foam. And if paying too much for foam in marketing already seems bad to you, wait, because the real problem isn't just the price, it is the lifespan. Have you noticed that current rackets seem to have an expiry date? Before, you could see people playing for years with the same racket. Today, after 6 months, you feel it dead, and it is no coincidence. It is by design. Unlike a tennis racket, which is a solid frame where you only change the strings and it lasts you a lifetime, a paddle racket is a disposable product, a luxury consumable. The problem is the memory of the rubber. With every impact, and especially with the summer heat or leaving the racket in the boot of the car, that inner foam collapses. It loses its elastic properties. A €300 racket can lose its real performance in barely 4 months of intensive use. They are charging you the price of jewelry for something that goes off like a yogurt. But what I am going to tell you now is what really annoys those of us who have been in this for years. It is the open secret of the professional circuit. When you see your idol on TV smashing the ball with the new 2026 model, it is very likely they are deceiving you right to your face. Many professional players do not play with the racket you buy in the shop. They use what we call prototypes or painted rackets. They often use old molds they feel comfortable with or much harder custom-made rubbers that do not exist on the market, and they simply paint them with the cosmetics of the new model the brand wants to sell you this year. You buy the aesthetic thinking you will get their power, but the reality is that you are buying an empty shell, whilst they play with totally different tools. It is pure theater. So, after seeing all this, does it mean that all rackets are rubbish? Should you play with a wooden plank? No, let's not go to the extreme. Let's be fair, a high-end racket has better finishes and better quality controls than a supermarket toy. But is it worth 10 times more? Does it justify paying 300 or 400 euros? Absolutely not. Here is the advice that will save you a lot of money from this moment on. Stop chasing the latest trend. The Padel industry works on fashion seasons, just like clothing, not on real technological revolutions. The top racket that cost 300 euros just 1 year ago, today you can find for 130 or 140, simply because the new version has come out with a different paint job. Take my advice. Buy the one from last year. It is the same technology, the same mold, the same rubber. The only thing that changes is the design and that you save half the money. And remember the most important thing, even if it sounds like a cliche. Don't obsess over the arrow, obsess over the archer. If you truly want to level up, take those 150 euros you save by not buying the trendy racket and spend them on lessons. That really shows on the court, and what you learn does not expire after 6 months. Has a very expensive racket ever broken on you for no apparent reason? Or do you feel like you have thrown your money away? Tell me your experience in the comments below.